All right. Welcome to the Free Game Project. We are this is format for the new year. So today I'm gonna be talking about my homeboys group Catch 22. That's who I got with me here today, Mr. Brosnan Rodgers. So according to the VA's 2012 suicide data report statistics, which analyzes death certificates in 21 states from 1999 to 2011. They determined that 22 veterans commit suicide per day. Now, that number has decreased in 2012. From your statistic, it shows that it's 17.5, but that's still way too much. So today we're going to discuss some protect those who actually protect us. And my name is Brosnan Rodgers, my high school classmate. And he's the founder of a Facebook group called Catch 22. His group focuses on catching those 22 veterans before they fall. So welcome, my brother. Welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
How you doing today, my boy?
I can't complain, man. Everybody's healthy in the household, man. Family's doing great. Closing out this year with a bang.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you giving us your time to, you know what I mean, what you got going on here. But what inspired you to make the group, bro?
So I'm a 16-year veteran, United States Marine Corps, and I lost a lot of guys in and out of combat. And the ones, that you can kind of understand is the incidents related to combat, but we really don't get a lot of closure on those non-combatant casualties that we face, i.e. Suicide. So I just basically did it to get a conversation started amongst veterans, helping veterans, just so that we can maybe identify some of those mental health issues or triggers before they happen and get those guys to the help they need, i.e. the VA.
That's what's up. So what are some things that you're doing?
So some of the things we're doing, we're gonna start a phone call. I call it like a roll call. Where you are, what you're doing, and hopefully trying to take these one-on-one conversations and drag them out to these guys, giving their testimony and some of the things that they struggle with, both in and out of the military, to hopefully avoid some of these younger guys or new veterans making those same mistakes. Right now we just created a Facebook group. I didn't expect it to grow so fast, but this is just like that commercial go, man. Word of mouth travels fast. That's what they did before they had commercials. So they just started talking about the group a little bit more. We get on there and we joke, we poke fun, but most importantly, we try to take care of each other and check on each other. I.e. post-holiday, which is coming up, where the suicide rates tend to rise.
So what are some what are some things that you see going on with veterans in our society, that you really want to address? I know it's not suicide, but I know you big on mental health, but tell me some things that you see happening with our veterans.
A lot of times, I would say it's part state, part veteran. I'd say they share the blame, just not getting to the mental, the free medical assistance that they rate as veterans. A lot of times they're not signing up and registering when they come out. And I think if they did that, it would be someone to follow up, send letters, phone calls, and check up on you. That's one of the main requirements you have to do before you can get your veteran ID now, is sign up for the healthcare, and then you have to go to the hospital and get the VA ID card. And I blame part the state, because the facility, sometimes it takes months to get an appointment to see and do your blood work to see a primary care physician. So some of the networking that we like to do on the Facebook group, if someone have problems getting to a clinic or they need resources, we share some of the resources that we may have, because I'm not all knowing, but I do know a bunch of guys that did 20, 30 years in that group. A lot of times they'll chime in and say, hey, I'm a doctor, or hey, this is where I go, or here's some contacts to call. Sometimes when you go to the va.gov website, you can kind of get turned around trying to plug in your zip code. And veterans do move a lot when they first get out. or they first retire. On average, they move 3 or 4 times. So when I first got out, I relocated to Virginia, went down to Gainesville, Florida, and I couldn't get an appointment down there. But up in DC, I could. So I was willing to drive an hour, 45 minutes to an hour to get to those mental health appointments, to those medical appointments, period. But just knowing that somebody's taking care of you, man, you gotta be plugged into some community in order to get some kind of assistance. Closed mouths don't get fed.
And what are some ways that we can, what I'm saying? What are some ways that we can help, prepare our combat veterans, and what are some ways that we can notice and help them re-enter society and be, successful?
Well, I would say ignorance and fear go hand in hand, man. It's going to start with education. First, we have to acknowledge there's an issue and educate ourselves. And the VA process is not very, what's the word I'm looking for? They react a lot. You know what I'm saying? So if you notice that, if you meet a veteran or you know of a veteran, because I have multiple veterans in my family, first conversation we have when they get out is, hey, you plugged into the network, the VA network? Ask that same question. And it's just a simple Google or va.gov, or you can Google VA plus sign mental health and get those people help. You don't need to go to combat to experience mental health issues. It's mental health. Disease is a disease, man, and we have to get those veterans to those resources, because they're there. The money's allocated every year by the federal government. They just need to tap into those resources, even if it takes an hour or two to get to an appointment. If you really want to, if you was hungry and you needed to get somewhere and it took 2 hours, you're gonna go. So you need to be just as serious about that mental health.
Yeah. I'm big on that mental health thing, man.
Oh yeah, especially our community.
Yeah, especially in our community. Like, what my brother is a veteran as well, and I told you,
right,
how he deal with a lot of those things. So, having to have some kind of community around him, what are some things that we need to do? And like, what are some things some resources that you see that are missing?
Resources that are missing. I mean, more VA facilities. They need satellite facilities. Because sometimes driving 2 hours, that's a lot of miles, man. I think they need to open more. A lot of hospitals need wings, because we already have the infrastructure in place. We just need to add satellite VA hospitals to some of these major universities. So like you go to Gainesville, that place is covered. It's one big walk-in hospital. All you see is doctors and nurses and nurse practitioners running through that place. They have like the second largest VA in Florida, in Gainesville. Tampa has the largest. So with that being said, I think all of the major cities that have the funds and the infrastructure for veterans, they need to make sure that we have some infrastructure there for veterans, so veterans can come in there and get seen. I would say that's the biggest. So that's probably the biggest shortfall we have right now. Infrastructure in place, you just need to duplicate it for the veterans. Like here in Fredericksburg, they kind of figured it out. And I go to a satellite. My headquarters is Richmond, Virginia, but in Fredericksburg, that's where I'm seen. So I can do appointments via telephone, video teleconference, or I can drive to Richmond.
What are some like we were talking about this earlier before we even went on about the age range of people, and you shot me a little bit with the information that you were saying about how you would think it would be the younger people having a lot of issues. Like, explain that to me. Explain that a little bit more, like you were telling me earlier.
Yeah, man. So like when I was serving, we would go to these assemblies, like they call it UMAPIT training in the Marine Corps. It's part of your annual training, so you're gonna get it once a year. And like I was telling you before we got on the call, man, like you think it would be the teens and the young adults coming into the Marine Corps failing to adapt and falling off, but it's really the middle leadership. So I think they have the ranks from sergeant, the gunner sergeant, and so that's basically E5 to E7, and the age range was like 25 to 35. That's the range where they're more susceptible to committing suicide. And that's when your brain fully develops from a science standpoint is age 25. So this person with a fully developed brain has taken all the trauma that they've been through. They develop mental health disease, and now they're at the point to where they feel like they have no other choice, probably mixed with some interrelationship issues and some financial issues. And they think that's the only decision they have is to commit suicide. So that seems to be one of the trends. I lost quite a few Marines, mental health disease and suicide. And it's sad, man, because families don't get closure. The people you serve with, they spend all those years and times with you, mentor to you, learning from you, you mentoring to them. And a lot of those guys end up committing suicide. They just tear families apart, man.
I know you mentioned all of the different issues that can tie into it, but I think it hits age range a lot harder.
What was that?
I said you mentioned the issues that can lead up to it, like divorces and financial issues. What do you think makes it hit that age range that much harder? Like just being in the military,
Yeah, going back to when I was 25, man, I thought I had it figured out. I thought I was grown when I was 20, 21. I couldn't even drink alcohol. Thought I had it figured out. So imagine you take that ego and you put 5 more years on it, and you look at you. We self-evaluate whether we want to, bullshit or not. We look at ourselves and we say, man, I'm doing pretty good. Be 25, 26, 27. You just entering your prime. You run fast, jump high. You really figuring things out in the bedroom, and then all of a sudden, man, a few things go wrong. I don't think it's so much as the age. I just think our expectations of ourselves, us being the worst critic of us, is going to be you. You're going to be your worst critic. I'm going to be my worst critic. When we self-evaluate and we're not where we think we should be in life, I think all that stuff plays into it too, man. It's kind of like being inside your own head.
No.
I think that's what it ultimately comes down to, man. Because if you look at your relationships, your finances, all those potential issues start with a decision you made. You gave that money away. You spent too much, and now things are piling up, and you can't. You feel like you can't overcome it, or you went and got a loan and you made another mistake. It can really tear down on a person, man. Now you got kids.
Yeah.
Now you got daycare bills. Now you and your wife working. Now y'all fighting because all the money going to daycare. I could see that stuff really, really playing out, because you got to think, man. When you home, grandparents got the kids, but when you in the military, you in Seattle. You ain't never been to Seattle. Who gonna help you? It's like you mean well, but it ain't gonna end well. So I think they're looking like, I'm an adult, I'm supposed to have everything together, and now shit falling apart, and it's because of me. So they kind of teach you to suck it up in the military, suck it up, fake it till you make it. You actually really have people that will tell you to do that. And so I think for a young adult, I think that's just a lot to bear, especially when you haven't been prepared to take care of that. Those failures, and then bounce back, and that resilience. I think they prepare us more physically for, physical resilience. But I do know that they have master resiliency training, which is something that, most people in the Army haven't heard of, but that's the first place I heard of it. I was at an Army base, and they had everybody going to master resiliency training.
What's a master resiliency training? What's that?
Man, they had this master resiliency training at Army base. I went to this program called Credo with the wife, and it was on an Army base. It's an Air Force base, but it was majority of the base was staffed for the Army, by the Army. So with that comes funds, and they actually paid for it's kind of like train the trainer, or teach or train the teacher. And they were paying senior Army enlisted guys to go learn how to be master resiliency instructors. And they just teach you to bounce back. They teach you techniques. They talk about the finances, some of the issues you're gonna run into in your relationships. So they cover the relationships, the family, finance, physical fitness, and all that stuff. They try to teach you, give you alligator skin or elephant skin to bounce back from some tough stuff. My biggest takeaway from that class would be something that your grandparents would tell you. Everything you're going through is temporary.
Yeah.
One thing we could try to control everything we want to control in life, but you can't control time. You can't slow it down. You can't speed it up. So just weather the storm and fight through it. If it's finances, you got a guaranteed check coming in, budget better. Figure out how to avoid those pitfalls that you feel. Identify that there's a problem. Acknowledge there's a problem. Identify the problem, and then go ahead and figure out how you're gonna remedy it. Come up with a strategy. Sit down with your partner, and that's gonna take sacrifice.
What's up?
That was it. That's pretty much the gist of it.
What's the like being a combat? What's the mentality of a combat? You know what I mean? Like, what's the
what aspect?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Because that got to have the reason why suicides are so high. You know what I mean? You coming from a totally different situation back into something that's kind of, I guess it would seem, is it like a foreign thing?
It's ego, man. It's all ego driven. Anybody that's ever been to combat and they came back home, they went through those 2-week trainings, and they try to figure out, where do I fit in? Because you come back and the wife and the kids been taking out the trash. They've been doing they've been pulling your weight and their weight. So you kind of feel out of place and not in the way. And they give you like a 2 to 3 week training when you come back. It's called I think some kind of fancy word, integration training. And they're trying to integrate you back into being CONUS, continental US. And I don't even remember that training, honestly, because you still be like zoned out most of the time, because it's all new. It's all new to you. And I went overseas quite a bit, and I spent pretty much my 20s over there, like just there and back. And when you here, you training to go back. So there's no real relief. Either you in the field here and you doing your workup, you get 2 weeks home on vacation, then you right back finishing on your workup, and your ass grabbing your seat back. You going go hop that rotator, man. Get your ass over speed. What's up?
What's some things that you learned to kind of do when you came back to kind of relax? Or did you just give some tips to the other people? What are some things that work for you?
Get a counsel, man. Every great man need a counsel and a spouse that's gonna be there for him. But I lean heavily on my wife, man. She been there and watched me deploy quite a few times, and for her to pick up the household and run the household the way she did, it's just, my hat goes off to her. Just, she's my confidant, man. She's my rock. So anytime I have any issues, I just go to her and we talk about it. A lot of times me and her will butt heads because, I come home and it's affecting her because she's normally got this. You know what I'm saying? And I felt like I was fighting to get back in my seat. So we ended up having to go to counseling over it because we were fighting over shit that, who cares, man? Like, who cares? Just knowing to pick your battles. I would say for the guys, man. Like, just put your ego to the side and realize, every battle ain't meant to be fought, man. Sometimes you gotta take an L, man, to learn from it.
That ain't something you're good at.
Yeah. So I owe everything, man, everything that I am to the wife. She's phenomenal, man. She really showed me that, she could do everything without me, but she'd be better off doing it with me at the same time. I think we just needed to we needed to go through things to understand that understand that our teamwork we're gonna be able to move at a faster speed together, working together than working against each other. Because it felt like every time I would leave and come back, we were fighting against each other, you know. And she already had her routine down for the last 8, 9, 10 months. And here you go, fucking that shit up. Yeah. But you know, you think you helping, but really your ass in the way. It's like so it can ruffle some feathers, man. Just like when you get a new person at the job or on the team, and they talking about it at my last job, we was doing it like this. Y'all don't want to hear that shit. Y'all like, you need to get the fuck out of here, man. We got this. So I mean, I would say get counseling. Get counseling with your spouse or your significant other. Because going out and trying to pursue a relationship, you know, for the single guys and gals, man, trying to pursue a relationship when you're not fixed, man, that's insanity. Like you dragging somebody else into your shit, and you ain't even halfway fucking decent yet. You know, be the person you want to date. That's what I would say. Be the person that you want to date and marry. So I think everything will work out well for you.
All right, so I ain't gonna keep you too long. I do want to plug your group, bro. I
Okay.
Let everybody else know what. And tell me this: what are your plans that you got that you have going forward for things that you really want to do? You already know I want to get with you about some things about veterans, but what are some plans or some things that you see yourself doing later on? I know you got the group going on. What are some things that the group is doing? What are some things that you look forward to doing yourself?
So I do want to go back home and give back to our
hear me?
community. Yeah. I can hear you.
There you
Hold on, you breaking up.
Oh, you good?
Yeah, you just kind of it kind of froze for a little bit.
I'm good now. I'm good. I can hear you.
Yeah, you good. So I mean, eventually I do want to move to doing a charity drive for the group and give to some of the families that have lost a service member. I honestly, I want to just go ahead and make it a nonprofit. I was talking to one of my partners that I started the group, and I made him one of the admins, my homeboy Matt. And my vision moving forward is to make this where we get a lodge or something, so that we can sit down and just chop it up, make a place like I don't want to call it like a safe space, but you know, a place where people can get away when they don't want to, you know, deal with the world. They can just come in, chill, chop it up, you know, fix a drink, have a couple of cigars or something like a lounge. You know, by veterans for veterans, start something, but you know, it's going to take the community coming together because they have to want it. You know, they have to show that there's a demand for it in order, you know, to have the supply make sense. So I would say eventually, I definitely want to do that inside of the next 3 to 5 years. Definitely do that, man.
I mean, I see it happening for you, bro. I already know you driven to do a lot of stuff like that. So, you know, that'll be dope to see you happy.
I appreciate it.
Man, I appreciate you for giving me your time. I ain't have a chance to actually post up like I had the computer. So, but I will plug you as much as I can on my page and everywhere. Have anything. Thank you again, bro, for giving me your time and just giving us a little bit of education on what you're trying to do. Catch 22 is the group name. Catch 22, and it's for veterans, combat veterans. Go check it out, especially if you're a combat veteran. Go, you know, get that community, man. Get that community. You know what I mean? Trying to do some things for y'all. So I again, brother, and you have a wonderful day. It's the Free Game Project, so y'all can go ahead and follow it on subscribe on subscribe to the page on YouTube. This is where I'm gonna put up my interviews, anything I do with anybody else. Just trying to give out some free games, just trying to help people out as much as we can. Thank you again, big bro. I appreciate it.
Man.
You have a good evening, bro.
Hey, you as well. Be safe. Happy New Year.
Yes, sir.